So look, let's go into defense. And Will, I'm going to send it to you first. Do you have any positives for me today?
I do. Cleveland Farrell was brought in here to be a run stuffer, and he's leading our team in sacks. Now I got a negative for that, but
Yeah.
he's got a sack in each game, so he's already doing better than Chase Young. That's my positive.
That's Frankie Lavu and Bobby Wagner for me. I talked to you about that. Yeah. Both of those guys doing what we needed them to do. I think Lavu had 11 tackles, Bobby had 9. You know what I mean? St. Juiced having that one where he punched the ball out, and you're like, oh, okay. You can do this time. You can do that. I'll let you do that time. That was a good play. Thank you very much. But other than that, I mean, it's hard. It's hard to say positive things when you give up almost 100 yards, like I told you before, to Singletary. When Daniel Jones balls out, when Malik Nabers has 10 receptions for over 120 yards and a touchdown. It's hard to be positive about these guys. Will, they gashed us in the run game. And you to your point about, Singletary wearing number 26, I couldn't tell the difference between him and Saquon. I mean, he looked amazing in that game, man. What do you think?
Yeah, no, he did. I was like, here we go again.
Right.
Well, what was one of my keys last week to victory? Can't let him be Danny Dimes.
Yep.
He wasn't quite Danny Dimes, but he was not the normal Daniel Jones that the rest of the league gets. Like, he wasn't Daniel flipping Jones.
Only us that gets this.
Right. So, I mean, the corners look bad.
Yeah.
Dare I say we missed Emmanuel Forbes out there? I don't know if we can go that far.
It was a stretch.
But what we had out there wasn't good enough.
No.
I mean, Mike Davis could not keep up with Nabers. He had 5 missed tackles. Noah Igbenogany did a little bit better, but, you don't have a whole lot of, I mean, and it could just be a Nabers thing, but, I mean, we got bailed out by his drop pass to get the ball back, We don't have any pass rush right now. The guy I was most excited about this time, Luvu was my most exciting, but I was really pumped about Dorrance Armstrong. Jared said it last week. I saw him in the comments, so if he sees this later on, I saw him last week when he said, what happened to your pass rush? How'd those guys do?
Yep.
It's a great question, because for 2 weeks in a row, where has Dorrance Armstrong been? Where has Dante Fowler been? Fowler follows Dan Quinn. What our pass rush is non-existent right now.
Yeah, and look, myself, Ab, talked all day today through voice messages on our phone just about, we've known that there's holes in the secondary. We know that some of these guys are young, and these guys got to figure out, how to play in this system, how to play whatever. They still got a lot to learn, but we've always thought if you have a front seven, and namely a D line that can create havoc and pressure the quarterback, that will hide some of those issues in the back end. But if that front seven ain't stopping the run, ain't pressuring the quarterback, they're not getting it done, and not even necessarily they're not pressuring, but Danny Dimes is able to get out of there and move around and look down the field. I mean, what do we expect from the secondary? We already knew there was issues there. Yeah. And if our front seven's not doing it, so I said those stats, from Wagner and Lavu, and I mean that's great at the end of the day. But that's why I had to talk to people about that today, man. Don't let these stats fool you. You know what I mean? A quarterback can have 90 some odd yards and still be integral in the win, whereas another guy can have over 400 yards or all these tackles and all this stuff, and it didn't matter. He got the tackles because we kept getting gashed. And they kept running right up at him. And that's what we saw a lot of today. I mean, thankfully, they didn't have a kicker, so they had to go for 2. Or if they did, they had to go for it on 4th down a number of times. But, I mean, a good team, let's be very honest, a good team, which is not what we faced yesterday on Sunday, a good team will take advantage of that a la Tampa Bay. You know what I mean? So I was somewhat confident after week 1. I'm not confident now. I'm not confident at all in our defense, man. Like we talked about it today. Like, is it a time for the fire sale? Like, I don't want to go that drastic, but at the same time, it's like, this is the Giants, and that's my quick rant for that.
Yeah. Well, this shows how stats can be deceiving. 20 tackles by your linebackers. Okay, where were the tackles? Were they at the line of scrimmage, behind the line of scrimmage, or were they 5 yards downfield?
Right.
Were they basically making touchdown saving or big play saving tackles?
Yep.
We had a couple. Bobby Wagner filled the hole a couple times. I mean, Luvu was all over the place, but some of it he was all over the place laterally and not north-south making plays. So, yeah, stats can be deceiving. But I think when it comes to this defense, I had a lot of faith in Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr. coming from Dallas to where, like, you're going to be able to make chicken salad out of this chicken that you were given. All right. And through 2 weeks in the past game, well, just in general, in 2 weeks, it looks pretty atrocious. And our pass defense doesn't really show so much signs of, like, how are they going to get better? And our pass rush is non-existent.
No.
So if our pass defense can't cover and we can't put any pressure on the quarterback, I don't know how we're going to do better. Unless this is going to be just like, hey, last year, Jaden, you got to score on every drive because our defense sucks.
That's where we're going. Look, I think, and it's funny, we had a voice message from Ab, and I couldn't do it while I was driving, but I can do it now, where he basically said, close your eyes and look at the team you have. It doesn't look much different than last year.
No.
Yes, there's the excitement from Jaden. There's excitement because we're starting to run the ball and the new faces and the new coaches. But I'm not seeing anything that's saying this is not the 4-13 team that we had. Somebody almost took my head off when I was like, this is the same team that we had last year, but they're not proving me wrong. I mean, maybe I'm overreacting because it's the Giants, but still, we could have easily, like, we were in the red zone enough that we could have put this game out of reach early. Like, we were driving down the field, like they weren't stopping us. And I get the 20-20 thing, but the way that it looked with the stats, with all that stuff, and I know that's misleading, but it's just like, good God. If we don't score on every drive, and I mean score some touchdowns, how can we expect us not to be 4-13 again? Like, we got to get it together. And this is week 2, yes. So I'll pump my brakes, but I'm not going to be naive and sit there and be like, this hole. This is not going to get fixed tomorrow.
Right.
It's going to take some time. And we talked about free agency, and we talked about, let this guy go and bring this guy in. It's not going to be that easy. This more and more, this looks like a just flat out rebuild. Like, we might have some success, but it might not be pretty at times.
Yeah. No, I mean, I do think the fact that they didn't really address corner, where any fan could see that corner was a weak spot, it makes me wonder, were they thinking that the pass rush would mask it? And so far, it hasn't been producing. One thing, and I am totally in on Joe Witt Jr. I want to make that clear. But he's also now the defensive coordinator.
Yes.
Where Dan Quinn was the defensive coordinator in Dallas, and now he's not. So it could be a learning curve situation. DQ very much lets his coordinators run some things. He's overseeing it all, but I think he lets Joe Witt Jr. kind of take the reins here. So, and also is it new players adapting to their scheme? A continued adaptation? Is it our old players, buying into the whatever they're teaching? Yeah. Are they following it? One thing I heard that was kind of interesting. I was like, I don't know enough to know if this is good or bad, but they sort of were talking to John and Duran and saying, well, we'd like for you to do it this way, but if you prefer doing it a different way, do that to where you're comfortable, as long as you get the job done. Well, I don't know if John and Duran are getting the job done right now. So if they're not getting the job done doing it their way, now you need to make them do it your way. If there's a certain way you want it coached and played.
Yeah, that's that. I don't know. That's kind of weird to me because if you got a scheme, if you got some, that was the whole problem we had with Chase Young, is that he went rogue. He didn't go with the scheme. He was sitting here setting situations up where they had lanes now for them to run through. So no, I don't necessarily like that.
No, that's almost getting a little bit too player friendly to literally say this is how we want to do things. But if you want to do it your way, do it your way.
Yeah, I'm not.
Unless, and like I said, unless it's this whole buying out period where they're saying like you can do it your way, but if you're not getting the production, we're gonna do it our way, and you're gonna have to adapt. And maybe they're giving them a chance to feel each other out. I don't know.
Well, it didn't work.
But to your point, I don't know what more we can do right now. We were rattling off free agents. You know, there's Xavier Howard used to play for the Dolphins. Patrick Peterson was with the Steelers. J.C. Jackson. Those guys all were out there all March during free agency. Nobody went after them. All right. So like their names, they are big names to know about, but they're big names from past performances. I mean, if the Pittsburgh Steelers are releasing or letting Patrick Peterson sign somewhere else, and I can't name for you Pittsburgh's cornerbacks. What does that tell you about his ability in 2024 and what they thought about it? You know,
we've seen how much success that defense has been having because Justin Fields is in there not doing much, but doing enough with how well they're playing.
Right. So it's like, to me, it's like, you know, and J.C. Jackson, now he was a Belichick guy, but he went back to New England. Does not seem to be the same player. Who knows? Maybe, you know, he tore his ACL. Maybe he, you know, what he had that last time is not still there. You know, maybe he's not the same player that he once was, you know? And
is that the guy that took the headshot at, did he go to Denver? That's not the guy that took the headshot at, okay. That's not the guy that took the headshot at Logan Thomas when we played the Broncos at.
No, Kareem Jackson.
Okay,
yeah.
JC was pretty solid.
Yeah, he a Terp. He was real good in New England. Got big money when he went to San Diego, Los Angeles, whatever they were at the time. But he never was the same, and he did get hurt. So basically, what I'm trying to say is, I don't know if there's anybody off the streets we could bring in to fix this.
Yeah. More and more, they're kind of making it look like another kind of feeling out here. Hey, see what you guys can do. See what you guys do. We're gonna see. Okay, and they're just behind the scenes. All right. This guy ain't working. Cut. This guy ain't working. Boom. And it's just like you said, business. It's just business. And for the fan, it stinks because you start getting loyal to some of these guys and you start getting close to them, and it's just like, no. But in truth, that's what this is a business. So we'll see. And if you don't win, if you don't get things done, we talked about Nathan, bruh. Nate, you in the comments getting rid of his head coach. He's talking about they want, Harbaugh gone. And it's like, guy won a Super Bowl. The guy was a game away from getting back to the Super Bowl a year ago. They're in the playoffs every year. But you know that there's certain things you need to do to get to that next level. And, they know that window's closing. So we're just trying to get into the playoffs. So let's, damn it, my Orioles lost again. Damn.
Don't get your hopes up this fall. They're not going to do
No. Oh, yeah, we've been slumping recently. It is not good.